Cognitive information processing, otherwise known as IP information processing, was first theorized after the development of the first computer and follows the logic of the computer. Cognitive information processing focuses on how information is received, processed, organized, and retrieved by the mind. In cognitive information processing, knowledge acquisition is described as a mental activity that entails internal coding and structuring by the learner. The difference between CIP and behaviorism is that the learner is viewed as a very active participant in the learning process. Learning results when information is stored in long-term memory in an organized, meaningful manner. Teachers can support learning in cognitive information processing by providing organized instruction with an emphasis on structuring, organizing, and sequencing information to facilitate optimal processing by the learner. They can create opportunities for extensive and variable practice, which allows the learner active participation. They can enhance the learner's encoding and memory by creating a learning environment that allows the students to make connections with things that were previously learned and enhance the learner's self-control of information processing, emphasizing active involvement of the learner in the learning process. As early as 1890, William James made an observation that there seemed to be two distinct memories. He called them primary and secondary memory. He stated that the primary memory consisted of thoughts held for a short time in consciousness, and the secondary memory consisted of a permanent unconscious store. It wasn't until 1968 that Richard Atkinson and Richard Schifrin proposed that there was a multi-stage process that occurred between a learner taking in information and remembering it, and that there were multiple ways of storing that information. They proposed that, from the time information is received, it undergoes a series of transformations until it can be permanently stored in memory. Thus, the understanding of sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory were popularized. It was frequently referred to as either the multi-store model, the multi-memory model, or the modal model. Three memory systems in the learner are assumed to receive information from the environment and transform it for storage and use in memory and performance.
Cognitive theories, such as information processing, shifted the focus of the ID field to attributes of learners and the role of prior knowledge in learning new knowledge and skills. With the behaviorist view, feedback was viewed solely as a method of reinforcement. However, once cognitive information processing theory invaded the world of instructional design, the role of feedback changed and was believed to serve two functions. On page 37 in their text, Reiser and Dempsey explain that the first function of feedback was to provide the learner with correctness about his or her performance, and the second function was to provide corrective information, so the learner could modify his or her performance. This shift in the understood value of feedback is important, as the ID field came to understand the detriment of practicing a skill or applying knowledge incorrectly. Cognitive information processing encouraged the individuals of the instructional design world to consider more than just the stimulus input and behavioral output. Instead, instructional designers thought about the part that happened in between, which is the information processing part. This new understanding prompted instructional designers to evaluate the attributes of their instruction and incorporate strategies that direct attention, facilitate encoding and retrieval, and provide practice in a variety of contexts. This realization, which was due in large part to cognitive information processing, paved the way for other cognitive theories, such as schema theory or situated learning, as well as Gagne's theory, which focuses solely upon the attributes of instruction and the impact they have upon learning.
Examples of modern-day cognitive information processing abound, as apprenticeships in both education and industry are easily found. The concept of a master and apprentice is at the very heart of this topic. The idea that a master teacher would show an apprentice the ropes is precisely what the journey from short-term to long-term memory is all about, according to Vygotsky via Driscoll. What it means for the modern-day LD&T folks is quite simply that we now have another tool to use in our fight to educate the students. Technology makes delivering content more fun and thusly more engaging. Moving from short-term memory to long-term and back is enhanced by digital tools meant to stimulate and inspire. The reasonable stepwise motion and organization of the materials makes this an ideal way to deliver and retain content.